Hey everyone, so I finished my next chapter on this book. Sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And the next chapter is about taking responsibility for our lives. So one of the things that I've mentioned before is that ultimately I'm stuck here in Canada because I keep applying for jobs in England and I can't get them to go back. So this country is not a country for Christians. When you ask for religious accommodation for Good Friday off, they don't give it to you. When you've got your doctor's appointments and you tell them that, I've arranged this in advance and a client's coming in, they'll tell you, make other plans, I don't care. The client is going to be here, you change it, this is a business. This is not the right country for me. People don't care about each other. They don't care about what's happening to your life. They don't care if you've got other things going on outside of work. They don't care. I've worked with some very nice supervisors who have understood my medical condition, who have understood that I need a day shift, and I've worked with the opposite. I've worked with women and men who are so horrible to me. They tell you, oh, you sound so Indian, or you sound so much like an English teacher. I tell them, you know what? That's how they trained us to speak in Zimbabwe. The elocution was drilled into us, so please don't insult me. We were taught how to speak. We were taught how to pronounce our words and how to enunciate. We took part in drama classes. I tell them now, because they're so insulting to me. So anyway, this chapter here, it says that sometimes responsibility is imposed on us. But actually, if you're a good person, responsibility does not have to be imposed on you. I opened up a claim for employment insurance because I don't know when I might get another job. And the woman on the line is telling me, oh, make sure you take responsibility, look for something else, don't just apply for this. I said to her, who do you think you're talking to? Do you think I like to sit at home and not do my work? I've been in this country for 20 years. She's like, well, I want to make sure you understand. I said, yeah, I understand perfectly. They're so insulting when you speak to them. So I don't know what people think. If people think that people who came here from Zimbabwe are stupid, are illiterate, are people who sit and cheat on exams like the Indians do, in the training, in front of you, they'll sit and cheat and they'll get put into the jobs on the production floor. So that's the Canada we're living in. And I'm glad the police released that report to say what the future of Canada is like. It's good. Because when people like me stand up to the authority, when we tell the people in management positions what the limitations are, what they should be doing, what they should be taking back to the clients, they don't want to listen. They don't want to take it on board. They don't want to appreciate what we are bringing to the table as Zimbabweans, what I am bringing to the table. So I'm like, fuck it. That's exactly how I feel now. Because you can look at how I've been treated. I've written posts on how I've been treated since the time I came to this country. Why do you even bother to ask a Catholic woman who's a spiritual director, do you need accommodation for Good Friday off, and then deliberately schedule me to work on Good Friday? Last year, I had to work my shift and then I left. I only got in the last 30 minutes of the Good Friday service. They say, oh, Canada's fair. Canada's the most polite country in the world. No, it's not. No, it's not. I don't know who they think it's fair to and who they think gets treated with respect, but it definitely is not. And people like me are tired of it. People just watch and say, is that how they're treating you? So what choice do I have if I'm applying for jobs and making the calls and doing the follow-ups and I'm not getting anything else? Obviously, I'm going to stay in that minimum wage job because that's how Canada works. I choose to live. I choose to love. I choose to have relationships. I choose to relate to others. I choose to help people. I choose to not live in my little bubble. I choose to be there for people. I choose to push for change. I make good choices, and every time I get punished for it. Every time. I choose to lead. I choose to commit. I choose to help people who are saying, you can't put people to death for having mental health problems. No, the state thinks it's fine. The state thinks it's good. And the police are also saying no. Like, what's happening in our country is wrong. I mean, it's ridiculous what's happening in Canada. It's really ridiculous. There's a story in here about Ted Williams. He was a baseball player for the Red Sox. And you see him at the side of the road on YouTube with his hair disheveled, and he's saying, hey, I'm going to make your dollar work for you. Say something with a great radio voice. And he was a homeless man. And he went on to become one of the greatest entertainers. So you never know what life is going to bring your way. Life can bring surprising things, and it can also bring horrible things your way. But John Maxwell is saying that in America, people have a victim mentality. And I completely agree with him. And in Canada, they have a victim mentality. All their Dr. Phil, their Bachelorette, their reality TV, it's all based on a victim mentality. That they don't know what to do. Or when they do something, they don't take responsibility. They don't. He's got so many stories in here in this book about how they play the victim. So one man, he's saying he embezzled $2,000 and he lost it gambling in Atlantic City. The man was fired, but he won reinstatement after he was convicted in a court that his tendency towards gambling with other people's money was a handicap. So they protected him under the federal law. Then there was a young man, he stole a car from a parking lot and was killed by driving it. His family responded by suing the proprietor of the parking lot for failing to take steps to prevent such thefts. So he stole it, he lost his life, and then the family sued the parking lot. Do you understand now what I'm talking about? Then there's a story of a man convicted of flashing others more than 30 times who admitted to exposing himself more than 10,000 times. When he was turned down for a job as a parking attendant due to his arrest record, he sued based on argument that he had never exposed himself in a park, only in libraries and laundromats. The state employment officials agreed with him and ruled that he had probably been a victim of illegal job discrimination. So, the victim mentality of the Americans is sickening. And that victim mentality, now we're seeing it with this Israel-Palestine war. Who started that war in Israel? Who started it? Hamas. So, in other words, it's okay for people to just come in, blow up people, rape women, abduct children, and everybody's okay with this. Everybody must support a ceasefire. And Canada mustn't give arms to support them. They must support Hamas going and carrying on doing what they're doing, and they must support ISIS doing what they did in Moscow. That's what people want Canada to support. I mean, where do you get your mentality from? Where do you get your thinking from? It's the same thing with South Africa. If South Africa was a well-run country, if there were no blackouts, there were no thefts, there were no home invasions, there were no killings, there were no murders, there were no rapes, I would side with South Africa. I'd say, yeah, you know what? South Africa, good for you. Brilliant. I'll support you. I don't. I don't support what they did. I don't support it, and I never will. Because the International Court made a mockery of what we stand for. They made a mockery of justice when they supported South Africa. Because what they're basically saying is, oh, Hamas can come into Canada, ISIS can come into Canada, they can have cells wherever they want, and then they can go and blow places up and kill people. We had an attack in the cinema here. They were wearing baklavas just recently. So they're saying it's good. Human rights. I may be in a minority, but I'm with a good minority, with the John Maxwell team, because it's sickening. It's sickening. It's fucked up. I mean, everybody goes through hard times in life. Everybody has some good times in life. They're giving control to Hamas, basically. That's basically what they're saying. That ISIS and Hamas can do whatever the hell they want, and everybody's going to go and demonstrate in the streets and say, yes, there must be a ceasefire, and yes, we will have a ceasefire at all costs. People are dying. There's a crisis. There are other ways that aid is being sent into the country there. There is support, so people mustn't pretend like Palestine is not getting the support, like Palestinians are just dying and nobody cares. There are many aid agencies helping them. And what Justin Trudeau did with that UNRWA or whatever, people don't like it. Why should we support people who we know are militants working in that organization? Why should we? That guy that went and said he's Canadian, he's from Toronto, those are not our values. Maybe people now think it's our values. It's not our values. It's not. I'm sick of it. I'm sick and tired of always being the one on the receiving end of all the shit. The client doesn't want this, so we have to do it. They're losing millions. I'm happy for the client because you know what? They make stupid decisions. They're losing millions of people. They're losing business. But let Belinda say something. Let Belinda say, this is what happened. Oh no, you can't say that. So now I won't help. I'll just do it for John Maxwell. I'll do it for the people that want to learn from me, that want to be there. The people are still helping. They're still trying to get me into something else. People I just met even 2 weeks ago are disgusted with how I've been treated. Fuck it. Really and truly, fuck it. Because people want to come into this country and then they want to say, oh, we all have equal rights. Why did you leave India and leave all these places and come to Canada? If it's that terrible, why didn't you just stay there? Go back to India, take your degrees, take your cheating, take your stealing, take everything and go and live in those countries. Because frankly, this is not what I signed up for. It's freaking disgusting.